excited about this guidebook because we are trying to address some issues that we believe are still there. You know, first, my co-leaders, you know, believe there's some really great thought leadership out there. Thought leadership, lessons learned. There recently is a book that just came out that interviewed 52 women who did break that glass ceiling into the C-suite and lessons learned that they have. So there's some really great things out there, but there's a disconnect between the research and the thought leadership and the results. And, you know, two of the challenges that we see are around everyone's at a different part in their journey. If I look at EY, we've been working on this for 20 plus years. And we've made a lot of progress, but we're not necessarily where we want to be. And that's where all companies are. They're somewhere on this continuum. So when they read the thought leadership or read the research and they look at it through the lens of their organization, sometimes it's hard to say, yep, it makes sense. And some of it's very common sense, but how do I operationalize it? And then the second challenge that I think that we're seeing out there is a lot of executives would take a look at that and say, yep, check, we got it done. And they may have it done with a one-off person, but is it really part of the fabric of the culture and the institution? So with the guidebook, what we were trying to, or hoping to accomplish, is to actually share some real-life examples of how a lot of our trustees, as well as others, have dealt with some of these issues. How did they operationalize it? How did they break down some of the barriers and what were some of the challenges in terms of moving that forward? So to make it more actionable, rather than these concepts that, you know, again, we all agree with, but how do we move it in action against it? Yeah. So one of the initiatives that EY is focused on in terms of moving forward our diversity efforts, one program is the Inclusiveness Leadership Program. And this is a multi-year program that's focused on identifying high potential partners and principals. They get together as a group once or twice a year. But in addition to that, and probably more importantly, early on in their career, they get assigned an executive coach from the outside, and as well as they get connected to someone on our Americas board. And the idea is over many years, this person becomes their mentor, their sponsor. They have visibility in terms of the changes going on at the firm. So, and they get to know the candidate and how best to get them new experiences, get them the exposure that they need. So when a leadership role does come, that these people are ready, they have the experience, they have the backing, they've got the brand to move that forward. So one initiative I'd love to share with you, and I'm going to look at my notes because it's a bit of a tongue twister, it's the Implicit Associations and Unconscious Bias Learning. And what this is, we've been doing this since 2009. Dr. Banaji, who is from Harvard, she's been working with EY for a long time, first doing some training and workshops with all the partners and principals, and now her program is embedded in our new manager and senior manager promotion training. And her focus, or her research, is really about the pervasive way that unconscious bias and implicit associations could have a dramatic impact on your day-to-day lives without you intending it to. And, you know, and especially around inclusivity. So a perfect example, as I was going through some of the simulations, I've been involved with and a champion of women's initiatives, both at EY and outside, for a very long time. But yet, when I went through her program back in 2009, some of the simulations I went through showed that I had some unconscious bias against women, which shocked me. So what's good about this training, it allows us to kind of go through different scenarios. It allows you to question some things about yourself. And, you know, awareness is one of the most important things. It allows you to be more aware and conscious of your actions as you go forward, hopefully fighting and going against those unconscious biases. So that's something that we've been committed to, and we've trained, I think, over 30,000 people so far. And she's fabulous, and her research is really interesting in terms of bias, unconscious bias, and inclusivity. So a key initiative that I'd love to share with you is something called EY Unplugged. And what EY Unplugged is, it's focusing on our minority hires. And part of the onboarding process, we are matching our minority hires with more senior minority partners and leaders in the firm. And the idea is to have an unplugged session to talk about kind of really how does the firm really work. and the unspoken rules, if you will. And also, as part of this process, it helps jumpstart the relationships, the contacts, and hopefully in a longer term, the networks and mentors that these people have. So, one of the areas that we try at EY to have as part of our culture that we believe does impact diversity and inclusion is creating an environment that people feel that they belong. And that sounds kind of corny, but if you could bring, or if all of us could bring our authentic self to work, it's been shown that it has an impact on how engaged people are, how productive they are. It's a great way for us at EY to hire and retain top talent as well. And when people feel safe in an environment and in a trusting environment as well, it allows them to be more inclusive. And actually, the talent of innovation has shared that, when people feel they belong, they're 3.5 times more likely to be more innovative and challenge themselves at work as well.